Armed conflict is a major problem in Africa, hindering development and causing immense suffering. It affects countries' ability to provide for their people, leading to poverty, displacement, and instability. These conflicts often have complex roots, including historical factors like colonialism, as well as issues of governance, inequality, and competition over resources. One of the key issues is the failure of governance. When governments are weak, corrupt, or ineffective, they struggle to provide basic services and maintain order. This can lead to a sense of marginalization and exclusion among certain groups, who may then turn to violence. Unequal access to resources, like water, food, healthcare, and education, can worsen these feelings of exclusion and fuel conflict. The legacy of colonialism also plays a significant role. Colonial powers often drew borders that ignored existing ethnic and cultural divisions, creating states with diverse populations and internal tensions. When these states gained independence, they inherited these divisions, which often led to conflict. Additionally, colonial powers sometimes exploited resources and created economic systems that benefited them, but left African countries underdeveloped. Many African conflicts are also internationalized, meaning that external actors are involved. This can include neighboring countries, international organizations, or even foreign powers. These actors may provide support to one side of a conflict, prolonging the fighting and making it more difficult to resolve. Criminal networks and armed groups also operate across borders, further destabilizing the region. Despite the challenges, there have been efforts to address conflict in Africa. The African Union, AU, and other regional organizations have launched peacekeeping missions and tried to mediate disputes. The United Nations, UN, also has a significant presence, with numerous peacekeeping operations across the continent. However, these efforts are not always effective, and peacekeepers themselves have been accused of abuses. A recent example of armed conflict in Africa is the conflict in the Tigray region of Ethiopia, which began in November 2020. The conflict is between the Ethiopian government and the Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF, a political organization that previously ruled the region. The conflict has resulted in widespread human rights abuses, including killings, sexual violence, and displacement. Significant parts of the Tigrayan population remain displaced and without access to desperately needed humanitarian assistance. Though conflict in Tigray has had a devastating impact on the civilian population. Millions of people have been displaced from their homes, and many are facing food shortages and lack of access to healthcare. The conflict has also disrupted the economy and infrastructure of the region, making it difficult for people to rebuild their lives. Addressing armed conflict in Africa requires a multifaceted approach. This includes strengthening governance, promoting inclusive development, addressing historical grievances, and working to resolve conflicts peacefully. It also requires the international community to support these efforts and hold those responsible for human rights abuses accountable. Ultimately, lasting peace and development in Africa depend on addressing the root causes of conflict and creating societies where all people have the opportunity to thrive. This requires strong leadership, good governance, and a commitment to justice and equality. It also requires a willingness to learn from the past and build a future where conflict is no longer a barrier to progress.